so much. And let's turn to our panel for the next hour. MSNBC political analyst Pat Buchanan, the Washington Post Eugene Robinson, and MSNBC political analyst Rachel Maddow, also of Air America. Welcome back to everybody. Gene, I want to start with you, those numbers that Chuck Todd just went through. I mean, it's really fascinating when you go through the delegate count about just how tough it becomes for Hillary Clinton ahead in the overall lead, including the super delegates. She's got to win, he said, 55, 57, 60% in these upcoming contests. How does she do it?
Well, she probably doesn't. I mean, it would be very, very difficult, barring some unforeseen circumstance. Something happens to really shake up the race. I think it's unrealistic to expect that she's going to get these 60% margins in the big states at a point when Obama is on a roll and he's racking up the huge margins.
But Gene, you're on this thin ice. You're predicting Hillary Clinton's demise. Everybody who's ever done that in the past has gone down in flames.
Exactly.
She's been counted out a lot of times before, and so far she's still kicking.
Her campaign has made the point. Mark Penn, her chief strategist, Howard Wolfson, her communications director said, listen, we know this is going to be a good month for Barack Obama. We're going to have a better month than Barack Obama next month, talking about Ohio and Texas. But she's got to have a superb month next month, right?
Good luck. They got to stop this momentum. Now, I disagree somewhat with Andrea. They did stop his momentum when he won that enormous victory in Iowa, and they roughed him up, and again and again and again, they tripped him up in New Hampshire, which he lost. They tripped him up in Nevada. He won big in South Carolina, but they beat him in Florida, and then they beat up Bill Clinton and everything. Look, when Andrea said they got to make competence interesting. Can anybody do that in 3 weeks? I don't think so. I think they got to make a case why Obama ought not to be the candidate. It's a huge risk. But I'll tell you, if you don't take a risk now, according to this current thing, as Gene said, the way this is rolling, he's going to roll right through.
If I were the Clinton campaign right now, I would pivot on my heel, stop giving up on Wisconsin, get into Wisconsin, start running some ads there, fight it out there. That is an electorate that may be susceptible to her message.
I agree. You got to stop this momentum. And I would go right to Wisconsin. Exactly.
But there's another factor though, and that's the Obama ground game, which is really superb. I mean, the Obama organization, going into this campaign, everybody said, "Oh, the Clintons are going to have the machine." It's they've had it for 20 years. They're going to know how to do everything. And in point of fact, Obama and his people put together an incredible machine. They have all the money in the world to run it, and it's been very effective. And they learn from their mistakes. I mean, they believe that they could have won Nevada, for example, if they hadn't made some mistakes in the way they approached some of the caucuses, and they didn't really realize what was going on. They kind of got outmaneuvered. They vowed that wouldn't happen again, and so I think that's another factor.
Are we seeing, we talk about momentum because he's winning these contests, but is there another form of momentum, which is the size of the win? We were all together on Saturday night. There were big wins on Saturday night. There are big wins tonight, the size of and it also, in terms of white voters making inroads, union households in Maryland, Catholic voters in Maryland.
The serious guys, the super delegates, they're all looking at that. They're saying, wait a minute, he's moving here. Did you see that crowd at Cole Fieldhouse? Did you see that crowd at Cole Center?
In Maryland,
This is going to freeze. What it's going to do is freeze the super delegates. You got guys, Edwards, Biden, who are the others?
Richardson.
Those guys are going to pull back now. I mean, they're not the kind of guys who ride into the Alamo. And this thing looks like it's not going well for Hillary. And so they will hold off and say, wait a minute, maybe I ought to be the first guy aboard with Obama. He's got a lot of jobs he may be giving out.
I agree with you about what the impact will be on the individual superdelegates, but I don't think that the Democratic electorate in Hawaii is saying, well, if we add up the exit poll totals on white voters, especially white women between Georgia and South Carolina, I think the momentum, I don't think people split hairs like that. I think they look at who's winning states and get
No, they don't split hairs like that, but we do, because it gives a sense of where the electorate is moving.
Her only hope now is Michigan, Florida, and super delegates. If he's ahead in the popular vote and in the delegate count, then it's Florida, Michigan, and superdelegates. And superdelegates do look at who's winning and who's going to be aboard. I don't think they're going to contradict the vote of the people.
Well, and I do think people do look at, the difference between a narrow 2 or 3 point victory and a 27, 28 point victory. I mean, the kind of thing we've been seeing.
I think Obama wins 10 straight states. That's what people absorb. And if he wins them with 70% or 51%, winning all these states in a row, the momentum is there. And I think splitting hairs doesn't get us any further toward understanding what that's going to do. The superdelegates are handicappers, and they have to be.
Everything is going his way. The momentum, the headlines, the delegates, and the talk. It's all going to be that, and she's got to interrupt it.
There's a lot of big news, too, on the Republican side. McCain doing well. We're going to talk about that right after this break. Our coverage of what's happened tonight continues right here on MSNBC.